Hello everyone and welcome back to JB's Total Gaming, where today I'm taking a look at Civilization 6. Now I want to do a quick look at this game because as I've talked to some other people about maybe checking this game out, the response seemed to be the same thing that I was thinking, that, I've played Civilization at some point, and is this one worth getting back into if I haven't played it for a while? So if you've played a Civilization game, or if you haven't, I'm going to do a quick overview about what I like about this game, what's unique about this game, what I don't like about this game, to try to help you decide if this game is worth your while. First of all, let's talk about what's unique about this game. For one thing, the art style is different than other Civilization games. It has a much more stylized look. Some people hate that. Some people, including me, actually like it, but it's going to be one of those things that your mileage may vary depending on what you want to do. So if we zoom in here, again, this is kind of a late game civilization that we're looking at, the Great Empire of America, and we're going to get more into how these cities are built, but obviously they're not going to look like this in the early game, but here's just an example of what it looks like, and that can be up to you as to if that's something you enjoy or not. So if we go and check out what we're able to do in this game, there's all different kinds of layers and all kinds of little things. Now I'm not going to go into all the minutia detail about the differences like unit stacking and things like that, where it's limited but available in this game. Instead we're going to talk about overall what the game does. So like there are these builders that can build improvements, and then as you unlock more things, there's all different stuff you can do. So they can build farms that help with food, mines that help with production. We can look at these here. And then later in the game, they can do things like seaside resorts that improve tourism. So there's all kinds of things just as far as the builders are concerned, but they have a limited number of builds. So this builder has 3 builds left, and there's 3 people represented here. So it's an interesting little change, because also, not only do you want to just improve the tiles around your city, because you also have to worry about what's going on with all the other tiles, because you don't just build in the city anymore. If you build districts or wonders, they're actually going to be built in the tiles around your city. So if I look at this, and this is one of the real big changes of the game, here are all the tiles that I could possibly control with this city, and this is a little bit of an older city. I think we'd have to look at a newer city that maybe doesn't have everything available. So here I could buy these tiles, or eventually I'd control them just based on the influence that my city generates, I believe, with the culture. And then as we expand these cities out, yes, we want to build things that upgrade our production or our money or our food on tiles with our builders, but also, again, there are these individual districts that we can get, or wonders that will actually go on the tiles around our city, and they might have stipulations as to where they can be built, and then they'll also get bonuses based on things around them. So for example, I don't know, let's go take a look at Baltimore here and go into production. So if I zoom in on the city here, so I have a campus, and then after I build a campus, I can build other buildings inside that campus. Only certain things can be built in the city center. So right now we actually don't have anything else that we can build in our city center available. We're building a sewers right now, which is in the city center, but when that's finished, there aren't any other options, and there are holy sites and all these different things that we can build. And as you go into the game, more and more of these districts will become available, and it kind of makes the game a puzzle. So for example, if I look at this neighborhood, I will get more housing based on how appealing the area is for my neighborhood, and this will show us basically the appeal of all these different tiles. And if I go into something else, there will be different bonuses based on basically what's going on in the city. So commercial hub will get bonuses based on certain things being nearby it. So it'll generate 1 extra gold per turn. Here it'll generate 3. So putting together a city is a bit like a puzzle, and I kind of really like that aspect of the game. And it's a lot to take in initially. And then you also have to keep in mind you have to make your cities happy. So there isn't global happiness in this game. Cities have individual happiness, and getting things like luxury resources or amenities in your city, like stadiums later in the game, or other things earlier in the game, will help keep your people happy in that city. And then you can, like luxury resources will be spread out to different cities depending on their needs, but certain things will be focused on just that city. There's also housing. The city will slow down its growth rate and eventually stop if you don't have enough housing, and that can be done with improvements in different districts and things like that as well. So there's a lot of things to balance, and a lot of things that there's a lot of things to take in. You don't have to do it perfectly to enjoy the game, but if you want to optimize it, you really can. It's an interesting little puzzle. Also, also, the way that you win the game is pretty interesting. So, yeah, you can win by score just after the game reaches a certain point. If nobody has won, whoever leads in score wins. There's a science victory where you get a bunch of specific sciences. Then you, in this game, instead of going to Alpha Centauri, you go to Mars, which is a more realistic thing, which is kind of cool. That's been in other games. Domination victories, taking over all the capitals. That's been in other games. But the culture and religious victories are kind of interesting. So if we look at religion, my society doesn't actually have a religion. There's these great people that, again, districts or different areas will generate points, and then one of the things you can get is a great prophet, but those are limited. All these other ones, if they get taken, like a great scientist, another great scientist will come along, and then again, districts will give us bonuses in order to get great scientists, and then there are other ways to get points, like your government and things like that. So these great people are kind of cool, but the prophets are what give you a religion. You will start with a pantheon eventually once you generate a few basically religion points, but if you don't get a religion soon enough, you just won't get one. And in order to try to win the game, if we look here at the religion map, we can see, like, for example, this city up here has been tried to be influenced by 3 different religions, and then you want to be the dominant religion in the majority of cities and all the different cultures in order to win the religion game. And they function almost like military units where they can attack each other, go into cities, infiltrate, and then try to put their religious influence over different cities in order to try to control it. So again, I didn't really do this in my first playthrough, but it is something that you can try to do. I'm going for more of a cultural victory in this game. So if I look here, we can see the appeal of different tiles, and let's actually go to tourism, and based on great works that I have that I place in, again, buildings that I've built in my cities that I can collect in different ways, I get tourism. You can do national parks later in the game. These seaside resorts generate tourism, and basically in order to try to win that aspect of the game, then there's, again, a tracker here, and I can go to it. It's the culture victory. I want more people coming to my culture from other places than stay to vacation in their own culture. So right now Brazil has 98 who are staying in Brazil, so I need to get to 99 because they're the current leader in order to win the cultural victory. So I like the way the cities are done now. I like the slight variance in how some of these win conditions go. I also like the city-states. So here we see a city-state here and then another one down here. You can send envoys there. Oh, actually it's right down here, excuse me. And then envoys will grow the city and then you'll get bonuses based on that. And then if you become the suzerain, if you have the majority of envoys there, and you get bonuses, and then you can actually hire the military for a certain number of turns here to control them. So again, that's a nice little touch. Or you can just take them over like other cities. So there's all kinds of little details about the game that I really like. And let's talk about government real quick as well. So there's the great works. Here we go, the government. Nope, there we go, government. So as you unlock new governments, and you can change them at the time, or on a different turn you can unlock it for a certain amount of gold. And then these government slots give you certain bonuses, and then certain slots in order to use policies. And then here are all these different policies that you can put in, and based on the government you have different types. So there are wildcard ones you can put anyone in, and then different colored slots based on the government you have for military policy, so on and so forth. And again, these give you bonuses, and anytime you unlock a new civics policy or a new government, you can swap these in and out, or you can pay to do it at any point during the game. And this is a nice little touch. It gives you bonuses based on what you're trying to do. So all these things weave together. The way you build the cities and try to optimize them like a puzzle, the way you try to build your government basically, and again, all these things, you'll have more and more options as you play the game. Starting out initially, you won't have all those options, but as you unlock things, they all work together really well. And there's even little new touches, like for example, when you're going down to tech tree, certain things will trigger automatically. So for example, if we go to a tech that we don't have down here, we can get half the tech by owning 3 privateers. If we own 3 privateers and we haven't completed the technology, then half of it will like automatically fill in. They're called Eureka moments, which is a nice little touch. So the way you play the game, you can try to do certain things, to trigger certain things, to get certain technologies, in order to build certain things, in order to get certain points, in order to complete a victory style. So the puzzle of that is really cool. I really like how these districts work. This is an encampment that's like a secondary defensive district that we can attack from our city walls, but also from here if we have city walls, which is cool. A bunch of little nice touches. So I feel like this game offers enough new that if you've played Civ before, before but you haven't played in a while, even if you've played Civ 5, there's a lot of nice touches in this game. Civ 5 wasn't really great on launch and then got better with the expansions, and this game, I believe, is solid on launch. The designer of those expansions was the lead designer on this game, so whether you played Civ 5 or not, I feel like there's enough cool things here to check out. I do have issues with the game. So they are potentially minor quibbles. So here's a builder here. He has one build left, so after we do something with him, he'll go away. And here's a later game improvement, an oil rig. So we're going to build an oil rig here, so now we have access to this oil. Great. Sometimes, after you do something with the unit, it ends their turn, you have the option, oh, I can click on here and another unit needs orders. Great. But sometimes, after you do something with the unit, the game does this, and it jumps across the board. And if you're in the middle of a combat, that can be incredibly annoying. You click on a unit, go to move it somewhere, but it then jumps you somewhere else, and then you might accidentally misclick and move that unit. It's super annoying. There's no way to turn it off. You can do it in the INI files, but I have heard that the developer knows people are annoyed by this, and I do believe they've said that they're going to patch this eventually, but it is something to know right now. That's super annoying. Also, whenever you are in areas and you're looking at things, the tooltips are useful, but there's a lot of information missing, like how certain areas get bonuses and things like that. Maybe I want to know, well, maybe I don't want to build a holy site now, but what bonuses does it give? And again, I can click on something and then see what it's going to do, but if I actually want to read what they want to do, I have to go into the Civilopedia. So I feel like I wish the tooltips were a little bit more consistent, giving you the information you need. It's nice that this is here if you need to go into it, but I feel like I've had to go into it or other areas of the game to find the information I want a little too often. So some minor, overall I think the user interface is really good. I just wish in a game with so much information that a little bit more of it was readily available without having to go into other menus. Some people are complaining that the barbarians are a little too persistent and annoying in the game, that there's just too many of them. Some people are complaining about the UI. Again, the UI isn't the AI isn't necessarily great. On higher difficulties, it's very tough because they get bonuses to production and science and things like that, but they still don't necessarily play all that intelligently. Overall, yeah, that could potentially be an issue. And actually, if we go in here and take a look at this, I'm not a huge fan of the diplomacy. There are some cool things like the Cassius Belli, or however it's pronounced, where you can get less warmongering penalties by meeting certain conditions to go to war, and you unlock these with civics, which are kind of cool. But some of this stuff, making deals, this isn't the strong point of the game. And most of these Civilization-style games, 4X-style games, the interface with other cultures just doesn't seem to work all that well, and I haven't loved that aspect of the game. But overall, I feel like my issues with the game are fairly minor quibbles. I feel like a little bit more information at my fingertips would be nice. I definitely want to turn off that unit jumping thing. Hitting this button to jump is fine, but when it jumps for you when you're not ready for it to do that can be really annoying. But I do like how the game has a lot of different aspects that all meld together really well. The cities are like a puzzle, and then the ways you win the game are like a puzzle. The way that your governments affect how you play the game, and then your districts and all those things tie together to make whatever play style you want to play for your culture. And I'm looking forward to starting another game. And if you want to check that out, I'm planning on doing, now that I've after I finish this playthrough, doing an actual playthrough on the channel if you guys want to check out more information. So if you're not subscribed, be sure to subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll be back with more content on board games and video games, and in particular on Civilization 6 soon. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll talk to you again soon.